Hajimemashite.
Yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
Welcome to a discussion on the Japanese entertainment industry by Christopher Shaw.
And Kevin Romero.
Feel free to pause the video at any moment to gain greater insight onto the subject matter at hand. Okay, so we're going to start with early forms of Japanese entertainment, many of these being ancient forms of entertainment. The primest of these being plays. There are four types: No, Kyogin, Kabuki, and Bunraku. No style came about in the 14th century and features men playing both male and female parts. Kabuki came to be in the 17th century as a counter to no style. In this style of play, people wear wild costumes or perform exciting sword fights to grab attention of the audience. Bunraku is unique in the fact that large puppets act as the main actors and puppeteers hide in the background. Sadly, this style is becoming irrelevant in later years. Geisha is born from female entertainers who perform various arts like dancing, playing classical music, or performing poetry. Another early form of Japanese entertainment is sumo wrestling. It's one of the biggest sports in Japan and has been for centuries. The word sumo is written with the Chinese characters for mutual bruising, which is very interesting. Although sumo's history goes back to ancient times, it became a professional sport in the early Edo period, which is roughly 1600 to 1868. Originally, sumo wrestling was used as a vice to praise the gods, but in later years, it grew into a large entertainment industry as huge fights were held in cities like Tokyo.
We are going to continue with our discussion of early forms of Japanese entertainment and discussing the inception of manga. Manga dates back all the way to the 12th century, with Studio Ghibli adapting an ancient 12th century manga scroll into an animated short. The manga industry is still an important aspect of Japanese culture today, with Shonen Jump being a top seller of manga series, carrying titles such as Naruto and Dragon Ball. All of these manga titles have launched successful anime adaptations. Another medium of entertainment similar to manga are light novels and visual novels. Transitioning from manga to anime, the first animated film is believed to surface as early as 1907 with the depiction of a boy sailor. As animation was improved throughout the decades, the first international successes came in the form of Astro Boy and Speed Racer. In what is now beloved by people the world over, anime is a defining aspect of Japanese culture. It defines it so much it can lead to misconceptions of actual Japanese society. There have been numerous shows of which have gained an international audience, including One Punch Man and Attack on Titan. Here's an example of an anime show that I really like. We'll leave it in the description below. While we love our anime, the industry has recently been under fire for underpaying their employees. They are paid for each frame they draw, and the animators can only draw so fast.
Now we're going to get into a very dynamic market in Japan, which is the film industry. Film viewership in Japan had been declining since the 1950s as a result of television, but sometime in the early 2000s, viewership skyrocketed. This was due to increased funding as well as the release of Miyazaki's Howl's Moving Castle, which helped spur the rebirth. Now, Japanese film industry is the fourth largest film market in the world, trailing only behind the US, Canada, and China. While American films are still really popular, Japanese films have accounted for more box office revenue than imported films in recent years. Along with bringing in money, movies help to spread Japanese culture throughout the world and support other entertainment industries that incorporate their themes into their own products, as with toys and video games. Movies continue to be a growing industry in Japan and an attractive form of entertainment, with powerhouses like Studio Ghibli and Kadokawa leading the pack. Now we get into one of the more exciting industries in Japan, in my opinion, which is the gaming industry. Most people recognize household names like Sega and Nintendo. Prior to producing video games, these companies and others like it created mechanical arcade games. Their dominance was spurred by the North American video game crash of 1983, which gave them an open door to the market to stick their 8-bit feet in. Consoles like Sega Genesis, Nintendo 64, and GameCube, along with famous franchises like The Legend of Zelda and Sonic, would shape the youth of future generations and cement these companies as a powerful force in the gaming industry. In modern days, the Japanese gaming industry is not nearly as dominant as it used to be, with Sony's PlayStation being the biggest competitor to American consoles. Japanese game companies are still able to hold on, however, because of a solid fan base and rich franchises. Since its all-time high of 9.6 billion in 2014, Japan's gaming market has been slowly declining. This may change, however, with the release of the Nintendo Switch and the revivals to many franchises that come along with it. Nintendo has claimed that they are approaching $1 billion in sales of the Switch in this year alone. For now, the future is looking bright for the Japanese gaming industry.
The Japanese music industry made a profit of over $2 billion in 2016. The variety of genres in Japan can only be surpassed by the US, with them employing genres such as visual kei, J-pop, and J-rock. The Japanese music genre that is most well known throughout the international audience is J-pop. It is an industry run by firms and corporations with a vested interest in producing high-quality content. With that being said, these idols are usually employees at said firms and are on paid salary. They are not compensated for their hard work, to say the least. Now, J-rock is an interesting case, with J-pop J-rock fusion group Baby Metal gaining serious headlines lately. This group was formed by a firm much like other J-rock and J-pop groups. However, there are notable exceptions, with bands like Rin Toshite Sigure and Asian Kung Fu Generation making their start without a big label.
Sadly, we have reached our conclusion. In sum, the Japanese entertainment industry is a very fascinating case study to explore and seek enjoyment from.
With all industries, there is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Japanese entertainment is not averse to any of these levels of scrutiny, as there has been lots of good to come out of the Japanese entertainment in form of exporting culture abroad. There's ultimately a price that people inside the entertainment industry must pay in order for us to be able to enjoy the final product. That price must be recognized and appreciated.
Here's a short list of our citations. Thanks for joining us.